Hey everyone, so welcome to my first lecture on probability. So today we are going to keep it simple. I'm going to tell you some basic concepts in probability, and at the end we will see events and some 5 to 6 types of events. And I'll be taking example first and then I will go through the definition. Okay, so we'll be seeing the definition and the example side by side so that it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, so what do you mean by random experiment? So now suppose if you are doing some experiment, for example, if you have a coin, you are tossing a coin. What is the output? It is head or tail. So you know the outcomes, right? And definitely it is more than one outcome. If the outcome is only one, then it's not an experiment. Okay, so you should have more than one outcome. Like if you have a die, you are throwing a die. What are the possible outcomes? Do you know all the outcomes? Yes, it can be either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. Okay, and it has more than one outcome. Okay, so when you throw a die, it's also an experiment. When you have a deck of cards, if you want to take a card, then yes, that's also an experiment you are performing. Or if I want to take something different example, so if I can say that suppose you have a coin and a die, so you toss a coin. If the head comes out, you again toss a coin, and if the tails comes out, then you throw a die. Okay, so this is an experiment. So what I'm saying is, you toss a coin, you either get head or a tail. Now what I'm saying, if you get a head, then you again toss a coin, and if you get a tail, then you throw a die. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So what is the outcome finally? So either if the head comes out, I can again toss a coin. So head or head tail. If a tail comes out, then I will throw a die. So either tail 1, tail 2, tail 3 up to tail 6. Right? So when you're doing an experiment, you should definitely have more than one outcome. Okay, so now so what I'm doing is, now I'm telling you the definition. So an experiment is called as a random experiment if it has more than one outcome. That's the obvious thing. Second thing, you should know all the possible outcomes. Like in this case, I know all the possible outcomes. While throwing a coin, I know it can be either head or tail. While throwing a die, I know it can be 1 to 6. So when you know all the possible outcomes, okay, so second condition is you should know all the possible outcomes. Third thing, you can't predict the outcome in advance. Okay, so like when I throw a coin, I don't know whether head will come or the tail will come. Okay, so in advance you cannot predict. And the fourth one is that experiment can be repeated as many times as you want. So like if I'm throwing a coin once, I should be able to throw the coin again, right? So you should be able to perform as many times you want under the same conditions. So when an experiment satisfies these 4 conditions, then we say such an experiment to be a random experiment. Okay, so so that's the definition of random experiment. Now when you call something, so what do you mean by outcome? This phrase will come many times. Outcome is nothing but it's the result of the experiment. So like when you toss a coin, like in this scenario, what are the possible outcomes? This is a possible outcome, this is a possible outcome, this is a possible outcome. So there are 8 possible outcomes in these experiments. Okay, and if I want to, when I'm throwing a coin, what is the possible outcome? It can be either head or it can be a tail. So the output of an experiment is called as an outcome, and collection of all outcomes is called as a sample space. Okay, so in this scenario, this is my sample space, the collection of all possible outcome. What is the sample space for throwing a coin or tossing a coin? This is the sample space. What is the sample space if I throw a die? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So sample space is nothing but collection of all possible outcomes. Okay, so that's my sample space. So it's all possible outcome. Now it's nothing but a set only, right? So now whenever you have a set, what is the obvious thing you talk about? You talk about the subset of the sample space. And in probability, subset of a sample space is called as an event. So what is an event? It is a subset of a sample space. Now subset can be of many types, right? So like we know that if a set has n number of elements, there are 2 raised to n possible subsets. Okay, so we now classify the subsets into, we give some nice names to some nice subsets. So let's go for the first one. So now suppose, now we are going to see the types of events. So in that first one, the event is an impossible event. So when an event is said to be an impossible event, when such an event does not exist. So suppose if I am throwing a die, and suppose if I am saying let A be the event that my A is what? It is a multiple of 7. Multiple of 7. So that is my event A. So what elements will your A have? Among this, which are multiple of 7? None of them is a multiple of 7. So A is what? It's an empty set. That means such an event is not possible. So therefore, whenever your event is empty, so empty event is called as an impossible event. So whenever you see a phrase, consider an impossible event, or let A be an impossible event, that means what? Your A set is nothing but an empty set. Okay, so that's the first type of event, which is nothing but impossible event. Okay, good. Now the second type of event is called as a sure event. Sure event. So what is a sure event? When your event is a complete sample space. Yeah, this is omega. This is the definition that you will, or this is the notation that you will see many times. So sample space is usually denoted by omega. Okay, so when your event is a complete sample space, okay, then we call such an event to be a sure event. Okay, sure event. Okay, the third type of event is called as a simple event. Okay, so what is a simple event? When your event has only one element, then such an event is called as a simple event. Suppose here if I say let A be all those numbers which are neither prime nor composite, then what is A? It is nothing but singleton one. So it's a subset of omega, it's only singleton element. So whenever your event has only one element, then such an event is called as a simple event. Okay, so yeah, there's the definition of a simple event. So now when your event has more than one element, then such an event is called as a compound event. Okay, so suppose if I take A, B, an event which are multiple of 2. So what that will be? It will be nothing but 2, 4 and 6. It's a subset of sample space and it has more than one element. So whenever your event has more than one element, we call such an event to be a compound event. Okay, so that's the obvious things you have, right? If you have a set, say X, you consider the empty subset, you consider the whole subset, or the subset will have single element, or a subset will have more than one element. So that's how we classify this in probability: impossible event, sure event, simple event and compound event. Okay, so these are the phrases that you will usually come across, so therefore you should know the names of these events. Okay, now suppose if I take two events, suppose A is the event which is multiple of 2 and suppose B is the event which I am taking multiple of 5. So that will be what? Only 5 over here. Now what can you say about A and B? You can observe that A and B, they don't have anything in common. That means their intersection is empty. So whenever you have two events whose intersection is empty, then such events are called as mutually exclusive events. That means what? They don't have anything in common. Okay, suppose if I take C to be the event which is multiple of 3. So what in that case you will have 3, 6. So is my A and C mutually exclusive events? Answer is no, because the intersection is nothing but 6. What about B and C? Are my B and C events mutually exclusive? Yes, because intersection is empty. The next type comes is the exhaustive events. So when you call events are exhaustive, when your sample space is nothing but the union of the events. Okay, so if you have some events and when you take the union of those events, you get the complete sample space. Then we call those events as exhaustive events. So in this scenario, you can see what is my A. A is nothing but 2, 4, 6. What is my B? 2, 3, 5. And what is my C? Singleton one. Compound event, simple event. Is the union complete sample space? Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in this scenario, your A, B, C, they are called as exhaustive events. Okay, so whenever you have some collection of events given to you and they ask you whether they are exhaustive or not, you simply take the union. If the union is complete sample space, yes, they are exhaustive. So suppose if I remove C, condition C from here, that means I am removing this thing. Then whether A and B forms exhaustive events, are they exhaustive events? No, because the union is not the complete sample space. So this A and B will not form exhaustive events, whereas A, B, C will form the exhaustive events. Okay, and now the last type is exhaustive, so mutually exclusive and exhaustive events. So the name itself clears the concept. So it should be exhaustive, means its union should be the complete sample space, and they should be mutually exclusive, means what? Their intersection should be empty. Now like in this scenario, A and B, they are not exhaustive events, so obviously they won't be mutually exclusive and exhaustive. Okay, it won't come under this category. Now let me bring C back into the picture. Okay, now I have this. Okay, so I have this thing. Is this exhaustive? Yes. Is this mutually exclusive and exhaustive? No, because as you can see, intersection of these two is empty. But is the intersection of these two empty? No, 2 is common between them. Okay, so suppose your omega is suppose A1 union A2 union AN. Then this A1 to AN, they are exhaustive events because their union is omega. And when I will say this is mutually exclusive, if your AI intersection AJ is empty for all I not equal to J. So you take A1 intersection A2, A1 intersection A3, A1 intersection A4 up to A1 intersection AN. Then A2 intersection A3, A2 intersection A4 up to A2 intersection AN. Then A3 intersection A4 and so on. So you take any two events, its intersection should be empty. Okay, then we will call them as mutually exclusive, and if their union is omega, then we call it as a mutually exclusive and exhaustive events. So these are the types of events that one should know. Now let me give you some homework problem. So here is a homework for you. In the comment section you have to tell me whether first two are they random experiment or not. Okay, whether they are a random experiment or not. If no, you have to tell me the reason. Okay, and for this experiment, this is a random experiment. The first thing you have to tell me, so what is an experiment? You toss a coin. If it is head, you throw a die. So H1, H2, H3. And if it is a tail, then you again toss a coin. So TH or TT. Okay, so you have to write down all 8 possible outcomes for here. Then you have to tell me an event which is an impossible event. Okay, so like you can tell that let A be the event where both the entries are number. I mean, okay, I should have not told you the answer, but okay. So then impossible event, right? Your samples, your event will be have empty number of elements. I mean, your event will be empty. You won't have any elements. So you have to give me an example of all of these events. Okay, I know it's little bit time consuming, but yeah, spend some time in answering these questions. And if you have any other doubt regarding this, please do let me know. And if this is clear, then do not forget to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.